This video is sponsored by Manscaped. The Lego movies! Not just the one 2014 film, but the entire franchise. I think it was one of the biggest surprise hits of yesterdecade. I mean, come on, we all thought this was going to be one big cash grab, right? But that first installment turned out to be a fantastic love letter to all things creative. It truly felt like it had the soul of someone just having fun with their toys and making stuff up as they go along. And it was made by WAG, the Warner Animation Group. These guys were genuine competition for once. The guys who otherwise made Scoob and Space Jam 2 and Tom and Jerry. Look, this movie's great. And I think everyone kind of agrees. Warner Bros. Finally struck some gold, and boy did they want to continue that franchise, but you know why we're here. It's time for more of the cancelled series, because the franchise is dead, in a couple of ways, and with it, we'll be covering a couple of cancelled movies. But first, let me give you a brief introduction to how this Lego movie franchise came to be. The development of the very first Lego movie began in 2008. Fast forward to June 2010, and Lord and Miller were in talks to write and direct the movie. Now these two are the powerhouses of the industry right now, previously working on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs at the time, as well as since doing Spider-Verse and Mitchell's vs. the Machines. Remember those? Truly just in a masterclass of their own. By November 2011, Warner Bros. Had greenlit the movie with a planned release date in 2014. Taking on the animation co-director role and editor on the side was Chris McKay, director of Robot Chicken, and later doing The Tomorrow War as well. But with that stop motion knowledge, Chris would be another staple for that Lego movie vibe that it has. In March of 2012, Lord and Miller revealed the working title, Lego, the Piece of Resistance. Yeah, that didn't stick. As well as a storyline that did. Alright. And by June 2012, Mr. Mario himself, Chris Pratt, was cast as Emmett. We had no idea where this was going to spiral in that time. Anyway, Will Arnett also became the Lego Batman, and it all went on from there. The first movie was a super hit, but I don't need to tell you that. With Warner Bros. Finally taking a W, they spiraled out 1 million productions out of this IP, including a bunch of shorts I didn't realize. You got Batman's A True Artist, Michelangelo and Lincoln, History Cops, and Enter the Ninjago, all popping up as little add-ons of what we've already established. You know, maybe I should spend some time looking at shorts sometime this year. We'll see. Anyway, along with all these new expansions, another project bloomed within the midst of it all, and in March of 2015, Warner Bros. Announced that a third Lego movie spin-off, The Billion Brick Race, was in development. This would have been the first all-new spin-off property to add to the Lego brand. Cool. Making it kind of closer to the first Lego movie than every other project, which, you know, leans on an already established IP. Now we're going to continue going through all this Lego movie franchise stuff in chronological order, but as a bit of a visual clue, when we're hopping specifically on this racing movie, the background border will be turning to this shade of red. We're trying new things for this series, do bear with me, and let me know if you hate it. Then in 2016, we got one final short in the form of The Master, before news popped in July 2016, Jason Segel arose, along with Drew Pearce, having signed on to this new race project as director and co-writers. Specifically, Jason wasn't directing as much as articles said he was at the time. Anyway, you recognize this guy. He's done stuff like The Muppets, How I Met Your Mother, and on the writing side of things, also The Muppets, and most recently Windfall. Nice. As for Drew Pearce, he's done Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, Iron Man 3, and Hotel Artemis. Progress clearly was going, but we'll hear about what plot they put together still in a little bit. And speaking of quality, this video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. You know what this is talking about. And I've got a code. Manscaped offers the best tools and something I'm not used to seeing, liquid formulations for the big three odor zones, your body, your butt, and your balls. This is Manscaped's 4th generation electric and also waterproof trimmer, with advanced skin-safe technology which reduces nicks and cuts on the most sensitive regions of the body. Hi, I'm Nick.
Get out of here, Nick!
The Manscaped 4th generation lawnmower trimmer is not to be used in this way. It has a super smart cordless charging system and LED lights to indicate battery. And with 3 hits on the button over here, you enable travel lock mode. Also inside the Performer Package 4.0 is the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray. Who knew preparing your garden could be so intricate? Apply the Preserver post-shower for all-day body odor protection.
what if I never do shower?
What? Ew. And use the reviver as a spritz with cooling aloe vera to refresh the area whenever needed. And covering all facets of hair growth, there's also the weed whacker to trim those pesky nose and ear hairs. It makes a big difference. And don't worry, it is equally as skin safe as the big boy, so your little nose hairs won't be tugged. For a limited time with our offer, you get all of this plus 2 free gifts. The Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. What a package. So go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free international shipping, plus those 2 free gifts when you use the promo code DazzReviews at checkout. It's a fantastic deal and something that goes a long way for personal hygiene. Back to the video. Anyway, we needed another major movie for the general LEGO franchise, and thus came the LEGO Batman movie, also a fantastic hit. The first movie was received with a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Batman kept up at a nice 90% in 2017. Following that was all the more shorts. Dark Hoser, Batman is just not that into you, Cooking with Alfred, movie sound effects, how do they do that? And then, not a few months later, post-Batman, we got the LEGO Ninjago movie. Oof. You know, I've heard from a friend that this is actually quite underrated and they really like the Edgar Wright-esque foreshadowing happening in one scene, but it did not keep up with the previous works, getting slapped with a 56% from audiences and a lot of mixed reviews. The momentum was falling apart, either from a lack of novelty or just the IP chosen. But the machine kept whirring. Sharky Shark in Which Way to the Ocean, Zane's stand-up promo. Are these well known? I'm personally doubtful on that, but by this point in the timeline, we've reached August of 2017, where back to the Billion Brick Race, it was announced that George R. Gutierrez was hired to replace Pierce as co-director. Ooh, dramatic already. And at that time, the film was scheduled to release on May 24th, 2019. But clearly, this racing movie was having a bit of a false start in places. By the way, I've been struggling to find notable cancelled animation projects as of late, so if you have suggestions, please let me know in our newly upgraded Discord server, now discoverable. You can also be pinged for anything you opt into. Or hey, come subscribe. I've got a million plans to lay out this year, so I hope you enjoy as you join us. And here's all my other outlets too. But seriously, Discord suggestions, I need some help here. The rest of the LEGO factory continued to mass produce. Emmett's Holiday Party, Unikitty got their own TV series started. By February, Gutierrez had left the project. Oh, never mind. What? Yes, just 6 months later, and George had already left. Things really ain't looking good, are they? But the removal wasn't necessarily out of creative conflicts or drama like that. We instead got some direct clarifications a little later that explained the situation like this. I left the film in 2018 when I didn't think it was gonna get made. These days, time is a precious thing to me, so if I don't think something is gonna go, I instantly leave. That's quite a brutal take, but I guess I can kind of respect that. Even still, we've heard nothing of this movie, and actually, a lot of it we hear in hindsight now. But with George's exit, we have some of his tweets and quotes showing how the plotline was to go, as well as some concept art on the side. So let's have a look into just what there was with the Billion Brick Race. First, Drew Pearce took back his previous role and went on to announce that the movie was a LEGO racing movie inspired by pre-existing racing films, including the likes of the Cannonball Run. The Cannonball Run? The Cannonball. Oh! Releasing back in 1981, it's your kooky, cartoony racing movie with a bunch of quirky characters not limited to a young Burt Reynolds that looks exactly like Pedro Pascal sometimes. What?
Let me see your driver's license, please.
Though I hope this bit wasn't going to be adapted to the LEGO movies. Anyway, the Billion Brick Race was intended to send references to all sorts of 80s and 90s cop and action movies. Bit of a weird choice, but hey, if it works for modern kids, I guess it could have worked. I'm less certain in concept, but the imagery changes my mind. Let's have a look at this. First things first, from Gutierrez's Twitter, we have this lineup of a bunch of intended new characters. definitely a mutual vibe amongst most of them, being that punky biker gang aesthetic. Though you've also got Wheelchair Guy for some nice representation, this winged wrestler guy who I've heard compared to the Nexo Knight Lego sets in a couple places, and a couple of archetypes as well. Some of these also get extended character sheets. Tobin, the cool guy, just kind of reminds me of Daniel Radcliffe from the Playmobil movie. Yeah, remember that film? Frankie, tough punky girl. Brody, tough biker guy, but with a car, not a bike. Tough guy, obviously tough guy. FBI director and built like a gorilla, okay. Jane the secretary, also Jane the mechanic. Secret identity, or just, you know, Jane and the cooler Jane over here? I don't know. Mr. Wonderful, he looks like a lot of fun. Honestly, this lineup definitely gets those wacky races vibes, or Cell Damage if anyone remembers that. Just such cartoony characters all brought together on the same prompt. Then the only other concept art that can be found is this physical photo of a collage from the movie. It's not about how many bricks you have, it's what you do with the ones you've got. A nice message. And actually, kinda like the Cannonball Run, the rules for vehicles are open. Sometimes people are flying, sometimes they swim. This race is actually, again, looking like wacky races, or something with a side of Sonic Superstar races. I mean, it's very Lego to customize on the fly, and would certainly open up to some creative options that way. And actually, some of these sets look great. A city with an engine set piece and a giant Coke bottle, of course. Your classic stadium congregation, moonlit monsters, a mechanical castle, explosive bridges, the set of La La Land, a portal to Lord of the Rings, apparently. I actually really like how over the top these movies have room to play around. I mean, is that SpongeBob and Homer Simpson in the background? You've got a bank robbery, a view of the kooky cars, this gorilla is in a couple places with his banana car, a sunset vineyard, Mayan temples and dragon, volcano tropics, and seemingly these two are our main protagonist if I had to guess, if this isn't just one big ensemble show. Having your classic sunset romance scene and several duo shots. Actually, the more I look at it, the more I see how cool a Lego racing movie could have turned out, as there's room for so much variety and creativity, and just some really cool and hectic characters as well. But alas, things got in the way. But before we reach that final nail in the coffin, here's how the rest of the LEGO franchise was coming along, as while this project was blowing out steam, another future production had begun, with the LEGO Batman being announced a sequel in December of 2018. Chris McKay again confirmed that the sequel was in development and that he would return to direct the film after doing the first LEGO Batman movie. But on a general scale of the LEGO movie franchise, by this point it was finally time to bring up the rear on the slowed momentum, where all the stakes were added. The LEGO Movie 2, the second part, finally released. Also, underwhelming. Kind of. Audiences seemed to like it. It got an 84%, but it just wasn't bringing back the returns that it used to. The LEGO Movie franchise had officially lost steam, especially with two movies stumbling behind on itself, Ninjago and Part 2. And so, things weren't looking good. The LEGO Batman sequel, though, had some details we hadn't heard yet, coming out a little more later down the line, but it was eventually revealed that the script was being written by Michael Waldron and Dan Harmon. Notable for the likes of Rick and Morty, of course, but also from Michael, there's Loki and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And from Dan Harmon, also Community, but you probably knew that one already. At one point, Chris McKay went on to say that Dan and Waldron had done a first draft of the script that was really great. It was truly epic, both from an action standpoint and from a story standpoint. I don't know why he's got that voice, but he does now. This LEGO Batman sequel was stated to have taken notes from The Godfather Part 2, because of course it was, as well as Boogie Nights. The film would have focused on Batman's relationship with the Justice League, particularly Superman, and his main antagonists would have been Lex Luthor and OMAC. I assume that's how you say his name. I don't know him. All to be tentatively called LEGO Superheroes. I've also got here a few extra quotes from McKay that have all the more specificity. The film was to be about the Justice League and where Batman was in terms of the Justice League now, and the struggles they were going through, as well as flashing back to how the Justice League came together. It would have also featured Batman and Superman's relationship, as well as Batman's relationship to a lot of the other members of the Justice League. And Robin, obviously. There was a really great plan for Robin. I wish there was a way for us to go do that movie, because that would have been a lot of fun. And on a thematic front, while the first Batman movie was about Batman's relationship with Robin and touched on themes like parenthood, the sequel was more about friendship and change. It was about how hard it is to change, to commit to change, to stay on the new road you've carved for yourself, especially when maybe you weren't such a good guy to your friends. Your old friends might not be able to see the new you. They might still live in the past. Oof, that's quite a strong theme to get onto paper. However, it of course never came to be. Why? I think it's pretty clear. The Lego Movie Part 2 released and it stumbled its way through. The Lego Movie franchise had officially hit a Lego brick wall, and Warner Brothers decided to pull the plug on their deal with Lego due to these diminishing returns. People just weren't as into it as they first were. But this isn't the end for Lego. It is the end for Warner Brothers, but actual Lego movies will continue, as the Lego Group soon went on to sign a distribution deal with Universal Pictures, giving them a 5-year window exactly the same as Warner Brothers. What this means is all sorts of Warner Brothers characters will not be carrying over like the original cast of the Lego movie or all of the Warner Brothers IPs, but Lego as a brand can continue on under another company. What this means is the Lego Batman sequel is absolutely dead in the water. McKay went on to say that because Lego has left Warner Brothers and is now over at Universal, there probably won't be a Lego Batman sequel, unfortunately. I'm so sorry to say that I don't think they'll be making a Lego Batman 2. Instead, the final Warner Brothers project ended up being the Uni-Kitty TV series that started in 2017 and eventually ended with the Birthday to End All Birthdays in 2020, and all other ties faded away. Although, the Billion Brick Race movie maybe has a chance, as this was stated to be the first spin-off comprised entirely of an original IP for the Lego brand. So though absolutely nothing is confirmed, everything could line up for Universal to pick this one project back up, as it's a Lego branded thing, not Warner Brothers. But I guess we'll just have to see. At the very least, there is no Lego Movie 3. We'll see no more of Mr. Mario's Emmett any further, and all those DC connections will not continue as the Lego movies go in a new direction under new management. Let's just hope the passionate soul of creativity continues on, and this doesn't revert to how we all expected the Lego movies to first be, a cold, 90-minute collection of cash grabs. But I guess we'll just have to see what 2022 grants us. Lego Batman was expected in 2022, but that's just not our timeline. Fingers crossed, maybe it'll have the same novelty again as 2014. Who knows? It could be Jaws, Jurassic Park, Casper, Back to the Future, E.T., any of the DreamWorks lineup, or the Minions. Oh god. For now, my name's been Dazz. Let me know of any other cancelled animation projects you want to hear about in our newly improved Discord server, and I'll see you all in a bit.